So, good morning, everyone. Hope you managed to get some rest after the pizza and the espresso and the nice cultural activity organized by the Italian National Support Organization. So, today we're gonna start maybe with the slides. Perfect. So we're going to start with our last keynote speech, which focuses on Erasmus Teacher Academies. And some of you might have heard that Raquel and Isabel, the winners of the European Award, they got a European an Erasmus Teacher Academy project. So Višnja is also participating in one ETA, Erasmus Teacher Academy project. And she's also the moderator of the European Community for Erasmus Teacher Academies. So she will be bringing in her perspective and experience of the projects and how these projects can provide the space for co-construction and co-creation among teacher educators, universities, but also with other stakeholders, that being schools, it could be CPD providers, meaning continuous professional development providers. So I would like to invite Višnja to take over. You can change the slides from here if you need to. Okay, perfect.
Good morning, all. I believe you slept well and had a lovely evening. And since I think we are all a bit restless because of the good night and the good meal and preparation for extra work, I'm going to do something that every teacher does, and it's a warm-up activity. So I'm kindly ask you to stand up. Now, I know for sure that we have some... Closer? Okay. I know for sure that we have some music teachers here. I'm not a music teacher. My singing is of questionable quality, but I'll try anyway. It's a warm-up activity. I think we know it all. It's head and shoulders. Do you know how it goes? Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Okay, but there's another part. Once we finish with that, it's ankles, elbows, feet and seat. Okay? So I'll start with the well-known part and continue with the questionable part. And then by the time we finish, we are ready to do our activities. Okay, so please be louder when singing than me, because this sometimes can be quite questionable experience, okay? So, head, shoulders, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and head, shoulders, knees and toes, ankles, elbows, feet and seat. Ankles, elbows, feet and seat and eyes and ears and head. Okay, so this actually works. Thank you very much for covering up all of my mistakes. And let me explain to you the initiative of European Commission about the community of practice for the project called Teacher Academies. So I have heard that some of you also take part in Teacher Academies. It's a quite competitive call within the Erasmus Plus call for projects. There's only 10 to 15 projects per year that actually get funded this way. The Teacher Academies have a big idea kind of to connect all key stakeholders in education on policy and practical level, initial teacher education together with ministries, agencies and all important stakeholders to make sure that the initiatives that we create through our Teacher Academies project really continue the lifespan even after the project is finished. So we had 3 generations of Teacher Academies projects so far, and I think the last call was last year, and another group of projects were awarded. European Commission, I think, became aware of the amount of expertise that there are existing in these projects and the amount of potential that these projects have. So from their side, there came an initiative to create a community of practice. So most of you are working in education, and I think you have kind of became aware of the term community of practice. Can you explain what it is for me? Who would be members of the community of practice? You cannot go wrong. It's teachers. Yes, in educational settings, these are teachers, so any kind of people who share the common domain of expertise. So in our case, these would be teachers dealing with education, right? Or other stakeholders who have the same issues or research or explore the same issues. Then there's the need to have a practice, educational practice that is shared among the community members. And of course, you need a community of people who are willing to share their experience, their expertise, their ideas, and build together knowledge. It's not just a group of people meeting or to talk about some things. To become a community of practice, you really need to share the identity of people being a part of this community. You need to share the domain, have the strong feeling about education, educational practice, about the exploration of issues that you want to discover, reshape, or research, and then build a common knowledge and common understanding amongst yourself. So this is a very ambitious initiative, and we are trying to do this with all the members from Teacher Academies projects. And if some of you already know, these projects often have a lot of partners. They are transnational, international. They take into account many different partners, starting from schools, preschools, institutions, initial teacher education, continuous teacher education institutions, and then even ministry and policy level institutions that help make sure that the outputs will be lasting and implemented into policy and practice. So at the moment, we are trying to create a community of practice. What would it be? We are able to use a dedicated European school education platform, so ESEP, space for Erasmus Plus Teacher Academies. So if you go on ESEP and you Google groups, and then you will find Teacher Academies group. Within that group, you have over 100 teacher educators, university staff, researchers, policymakers who are part of Teacher Academies project. We try to facilitate exchange, visibility, and cross-project collaboration, and we are focused on creating a sustainable, active community of practice. Now, this is the initiative that's not really been here for ages. We've just started. We've started half a year ago, and we are trying to make this space a lively space where people can share their expertise and ideas about education. Why did we want to create something like this? So, since we are working in cross-cultural and international projects, we wanted to make sure that we can co-create a common knowledge to build collective expertise. And I'm going to say something that I learned yesterday, like transnational didactics. So it's a question of how to explore education in different contexts, according to different cultural backgrounds that we have, and still have the same understanding of the issues that we deal with. To stay connected after the project end. I know most of you here did a lot of eTwinning projects, and then once the project is finished, I've even heard some of you say, people kind of scatter, go their own way, and there's no way to connect or continue cooperation unless you were really lucky. So for this amount of these big projects where you have lots of funds put in, and when you have lots of expertise, it will be very beneficial for all of us if people stayed connected and continued researching, implementing the change that they've created. We wanted to share research, events, and outputs across academies or across all of the projects that were funded. We tried to build bridges between initial teacher education and continuous professional development into institutions. That's quite important, and it's still quite lacking in most of the countries. So it's kind of refreshing to see. And we try to promote the long-term visibility of project results that are creating during the projects. So how can we ensure co-creation in international context? I think you've all been part of international teams, and you always wonder, is this going to be something that's working out for everyone? If you really want to ensure co-creation between different team members, you have to make sure that co-creation starts with collaborative environment that's built on trust and respect, followed by joint goal setting to define shared objectives. So yesterday we had a session about the core values of eTwinning also. So these core values should be recognized in a community of practice in an international context. We need to show mutual respect, mutual understanding, and give each other enough time and space to be able to verbalize, explain how we see different things in education. Active participation in discussions is a requirement, and peer practices support negotiation and meaning making, because we often interpret and understand the same concepts differently in different countries. So this would be a platform for co-construction of common knowledge and common understanding of the things that we find understandable and they are really not. Through feedback and reflection, participants can engage in continuous improvement, leading to collective knowledge construction and problem solving. And also, sustainability is ensured through the alignment of teaching and assessment of the jointly defined goals. So it actually takes a lot of different activities, a lot of engagement by different members, but then you can start talking about co-construction and co-creation in international context. So what we try to achieve in a framework that we have, we were setting the stage in ESEP group, and we created different pages. You know what it looks like. So we have a page for welcome and onboarding, where we welcome new members and try to get them to get used to the pages, the setting, because not all of us were a part of eTwinning or ESEP webpage before this. We try to showcase or give the space to showcase the outputs from each project, the best ideas or the best successes. We have created communities of practice that are actually organized around the topics of the call for teacher academies. So you have a community of practice or a space for a community of practice that deals with inclusion, with well-being, with sustainability, digital capacity, and also STEM or civic engagement. These are all the spaces that are created in our ESEP groups for people who find this topic of a special interest and they would like to dig into it more deeply. Of course, there's a forum, like in all groups, there's a chat room, and something that we have managed to do quite well, I think, is live sessions every 6 to 8 weeks where we meet online via Zoom, and we discuss topics that are of interest to all of the members of teacher academies. So I'll explain this last part of activities that we do, because I find this activity to be the most beneficial and actually the only one working up to a certain level at this point. I have already said that the community of practice is just, we are trying to build it. It's still a work in progress, but what we have found to work are these live sessions. So we have a big mailing list for all the people who participate in teacher academies, and we forward the call to participate in live events. We started with the first session just before summer, and it was a talk by representatives of European Commission. We explained what teacher academies are, what are our goals, what do we want to achieve with this community of practice, and it was actually a call for action and a call for inclusion and becoming a part of this kind of activity. All of our sessions are recorded and available online for our participants to see later on. The second live session was actually how to TA, how to be a successful teacher academies partner or a member, because you know every project has its own issues, challenges and difficulties. So we're trying to find members of different projects that have lasted for a longer time, up to 3 years or even more. And they were our speakers in an online panel of how to be successful in teacher academies. So they presented their own examples of good practice, of what works in each context, and they tried to give us, the newcomers, ideas of how to support us in our teacher academies projects. It was a very lively and very successful session. And after that, we had the last one, sustainability in Erasmus projects, because we know that once we create a good output, we create something that's really valuable, we often wonder, so what happens after the project? So we invested so much energy, so much time, so much initiative, creativity. We have a really good output. The project members know of it, but what happens next? Usually, once the project is over, the outputs are not really sustainable. So we talked about different ideas how to make our project outputs most sustainable, visible, how to make them available to others. And this was a really good session for all of our members to discuss. We had 4 different project representatives, and they explained how they plan to make their outputs more sustainable. The next live session is going to be on the 9th of December. And we are talking about how to bridge, how to cross the boundaries of working in an international context, of co-creation, collaboration, co-design, and co-implementation of different activities. But in the end, we will have a treasure hunt, and all of our members are invited to offer us gifts. We will hide them on one or other different tools, online tools, where the participants can click and then discover a curriculum for digital competence, an output about presentation. So all the different outputs that can be shared with everyone to use in their own educational context. Now, this all sounds really interesting to me and to our members, and it sounds fun, but it's a lot of work. And of course, there are a lot of challenges to create a lively community of practice, because, you know, it takes more than just to meet up online and talk about different things. There are some challenges. There are some challenges in technology. You all work on as a platform when you do eTwinning project. They have some technical obstacles that really make it difficult for people to be actively involved together. So we would really appreciate a notification function in the platform so that we know someone's active online and we can come back to them and reply to them and ask more questions. It is used for by all our members, but is it really user-friendly? Can it be a bit more simple? It's a question for some others. No, I'm not technically that much savvy in IT, but I do find there are some obstacles for us to communicate in an easy and regular way within this community of practice. Is it possible to make gamification functions? Is it possible to make it more accessible for us? Is it possible for me to know when someone posts a comment or a question or uploads the materials? So there are some technical issues, but I think we will overcome them in one way or the other. But also, there are obstacles in community development. So I've told you that community of practice is not just a group of people that occasionally meets or that just find to have share the same interest. For a community of practice to be functional, it actually needs a strong identity. I think the members of eTwinning community have a strong identity of being members of eTwinning. And this is something that needs to develop amongst the people who work in Teacher Academies project. We have had one live session meeting in Brussels this year, and I think that's a good starting point if you have annual meeting of representatives for different projects where you can give them different workshops, different tasks that when they start feeling as a part of bigger community that can then in between live sessions develop in an online or virtual environment. And I think that's a good way to start. Because all of us work in so many different projects, teaching activities, in IT, in CPD, on a policy level, so you have time restraints. How much can you really give of your own time and of your own energy to develop this kind of community practice? You have some Teacher Academies projects that have as outputs their own communities of practice. Like when you create a group on eTwinning, you become a small community of practice researching your own topic. And this community of practice is supposed to bring everyone together. The workload and the lack of strong common identity still is something that we need to strongly develop. And different stakeholders have different needs. So community of practice should really have subgroups that actually help different stakeholders have people to communicate with, research, discuss, build common knowledge and understanding of the policy on international level, of the practice on international level. So there's a lot of work to be done with all of these obstacles in mind. So Since we are only starting and we are the community of practice that is promising to be very functional and very, very rewarding for all of us, I kind of ask for your support. I will share the outputs of this session with our community of practice in our room in ESEP space, but I would kindly ask you to reflect on what you've heard and write down what inspires you about a community like this. Why do you think it should happen? Why it should work, why is it good, and what message would you send to the people who sustain it or to the people who are part of it. So think of it as giving us the push to continue, and for me to be able to share that different people still feel that this is a good idea. I like what I see. So I'll give you a few more minutes and then share with you. You have finished? So I've seen some of the messages that you put there that you can easily recognize in theoretical papers about communities of practice. Be aware of the way you communicate with each other. How much do you understand the national humor or understand the short sentences in a virtual context? It's quite important to understand how people communicate. It's very nice to see that you support this. No man is an island. The teaching education profession having communities which co-create and support each other in this rapidly evolving world is an imperative, and I feel that the common values that we have, we all strive to make education better for our students and for ourselves, so I think this is really nice. Make our life easy, and thanks for your support, encourage, and there's a very, very nice messages, and I thank you very much. I'm going to ask the technician now to go back and scroll up, and now I want you to read these messages, because this is my message to eTwinning members, okay? So I really appreciate all the effort that you do together, and all the support that you send to us, and we will try to take this into account and continue growing and growing. I'd like to send this back to you. So continue the good work and keep spreading the good words about education and good educational ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Višnja. Do we have maybe any questions? Or from the online audience? Wow, you were crystal clear, Višnja. Okay, so now I would like to invite you all to stand up and join me on stage for the traditional group picture that we have in every on-site conference. So the online audience will excuse us for 1 minute, more or less. So feel free to join us here. Probably. No, no, no. Come to the front. Go to the front. Ignacio. Maybe actually, okay, we are back. Great. So now we're gonna proceed with the co-creation session. So in every on-site event, the idea is also to allow you to bring in your own needs, ideas, content, of course, depending on your own context, the subjects that you're teaching, the educational level of your future teachers. So we have designed a session where you're going to be working in the three main areas, so curriculum, project implementation, and research. So you will be tasked, or you're asked to work collaboratively to identify and co-design a teaching topic, an eTwinning project, of course not at its full, let's say, length, and a research proposal. Ideally, these three should be interconnected. So in this way, we can also reflect on either the co-teaching or the co-construction and co-creation process, or on the impact of the co-teaching processes or the projects that you will be implementing. You're gonna receive a template, so all you have to do is just to follow the steps. Everything is pretty straightforward. For the online audience, my colleagues will post also a Teams in a while, but for the time being, please stay with us. And keep the outcomes feasible and realistic. It's always great, and we say dream high and let's make super interesting things, but keep it feasible and realistic. The idea is not to impress or create super complex things, rather than make something that you could potentially follow up after the conference and ideally implement. So step one would be getting to know each other. So ideally you should mix up and not stay in the tables that you are currently in. So you can share, of course, your name, your institution, the context of your teaching reality. So what courses do you teach, what levels, postgraduate, undergraduate, and so on. Share your expertise as well. So what can you bring into this co-creation context? And also try to exchange information so you can ensure a common understanding on what is going to be followed in the next steps. So you're going to have approximately 15 minutes to identify a topic, ideally linked with one of the basic skills that we have been talking about in the conference, and then define the more specific themes that you will be addressing in this co-teaching session. And if time allows, you can also reflect a bit on the methodologies. Could be inquiry-based learning, could be flipped learning, could be project work, whatever works in your own context. Then step 3 is the creation of an eTwinning project. So the idea is to start with a title, a short description, outline and describe a bit your idea. Define 2 to 3 objectives, so keep it quite focused, and set a realistic project duration, although you might be laughing about the timeline, however, just to have an indication. If possible, you can outline the different phases at a generic level. Again, of course, after the conference, you can go back and enrich, extend your work. Tools and resources that you might use for the eTwinning project, and also how you're gonna assess your student teachers' work. And step 4 focuses on the research part. Again, here the idea is to focus on 1 or 2 topics that you're gonna be researching and looking into. Could be, as I said, related to the first step, the co-teaching and co-development. So what has been the experience of you as teacher educators working and co-creating with other colleagues, or co-creating with student teachers. Richard, I think, mentioned in his workshop several models of collaboration, so keep it open and creative. Choose the methodology, whether you're going to be using quantitative, qualitative, or mixed methods. We've seen also quite some nice presentations and ideas these days. What tools you're going to be using and what the analysis would be. But again, focus on the important stuff and, or let's say the more generic stuff, and then you can elaborate at a later stage. So now, okay, this I can skip, I've mentioned it. For the online audience, you can scan this Padlet and you will be redirected to a page where you can download a Word file. And my colleagues will post a Microsoft Teams meeting in the chat so we can split you in breakout rooms and work online. So again, for the online audience, you will be following the same steps, and the idea is also to be active, so feel free to open the cameras, open your microphones and start working. One member can download the file, share the screen, and then you can collaboratively start working and filling out the document. And as soon as you complete that, you can upload your group work in the same Padlet, so then we can have also access to it. And as soon as we finish the session, the online audience should enter back again in the YouTube link for the streaming, so we proceed with the closing of the conference. Do we have any question? No? Okay, so I think we can start. Yes? Perfect. So again, I hope that yeah, it was a fruitful session, both for the on-site and for the online audience. Since we have some time, we will have 2 or 3 presentations from groups that volunteered. So, but you did. I just asked if you would be interested in presenting, and you said yes. No rush, no stress. So, let's have our first presentation. Exactly, let's cheer things up. Just speak close to the microphone for the online audience. Perfect.
Please join me. I volunteered. Hi everyone. So our project is called Water in My Area, and the subjects that are involved in these projects are essentially technology, environmental study, digital questions in general, math, STEM, history, physics. So the methods that we would like to use are personalized learning, active participation, and design thinking. And also we would like to implement some project-based learning and flipped learning, collaboration between students, and possibly using AI to support language barriers, especially for younger children. So the idea of our project is to explore the topics of water distribution in the areas of the countries participating to the project. So the main idea is to understanding the mechanism of distribution, cleaning of water in the areas of the schools participating in the project. And we'd like to raise interest of students in topics related to water shortage, pollution, and equal distribution. So the main subjects connected to this kind of project would be physics, social studies regarding the questions of equal distribution, technology, and also literature and art related to the way in which waters have been illustrated by artists and writers. So the students would have to learn about water supplies in different European countries, learning about how children understand and learn about water cycle and water supplies. And obviously they would like to foster collaboration between student, teacher, and secondary primary school students in different countries. The project would have a duration of 10-12 weeks approximately. And the project activities, we left this part a bit nuanced, keeping a first meeting, an introduction activity, group work activity, and then a follow-up meeting. The resources that we'd like to use are the Twin Space to collaborate, the Zoom for virtual meetings, Canva to present work results and to disseminate, Padlet for the introduction and sharing ideas, and Google Forms, a multimeter to evaluate the work. Regarding the learners assessment and project evaluation, we would like to implement peer review, the discussion of the project, and self-assessment. And regarding the research proposal, we'd like to focus on understanding water distribution and purification in different regions represented by the participants to the project. So schools will explore how access to clear water varies locally, studying issues such as water shortages, pollution, fair distribution, and resources. So for the impact on the student teachers and teachers educators would essentially be innovative researching methods, develop learning multidisciplinarity, strengthen the international collaboration, and foster inclusive education. So, in very short, this is the idea of our project. Thank you.
Thank you very much for volunteering, exactly. What was the other team? Eva, I think.
Thank you very much for my team to appoint me as a volunteer to talk and for them to stand behind me as emotional supporters. So our idea is a project entitled STEAM Now and Then through eTwinning. Our idea would be a 6-month-long project focusing on each letter of the STEAM abbreviation, so science, technology, etc. Basically, it would be to use digital tools in a pedagogical, meaningful way for active learning strategies, but with each month focusing on real-life problems and issues. And as I am the only one who teaches in vocational education, that is how we could include that as well. And the main focus would be the career orientation of girl students towards STEAM subjects. So we would measure in a pre-course survey their attitude towards fields such as ICT and science, and then it would be great to see if the project is successful to assess afterwards. And the assessment method would be portfolios, peer evaluation, self-assessment, and we would also like to measure the stereotype around an ideal teacher with the TPAC model. So if student teachers think that digital pedagogy and content knowledge is also as important, so if all three are important before and afterwards. And the research would be a mixed approach, so e-portfolios and surveys. And thank you very much.
Thank you. And we had one more, right? Yes, okay. From the main stage, exactly. Why not? Just close to the...
Yeah. So, am I the one who's doing to talk? Okay.
If you want.
Okay. We were a very small team, but we had a lot of ideas. And in fact, I'm going to say I'd like to implement that project next year. So if anybody is interested, please tell me at the end of our presentation. So it's going to be about literacy, languages, digital tools, and many things. So our idea is to start, well, it comes from the workshop we had yesterday, is to start with asking our students, future primary school teachers, to work in different countries on stories, children's stories, and to choose one they really like. So we're going to introduce that, then they're going to work and choose, on each part, they're going to choose the stories, and then we're going to introduce or present the stories and justify their choices to the others. So there will be reading activities, speaking activities and listening activities and exchanges in English. So that's the first thing. And then we'll have to choose one story for the whole group, and we will divide the story or organize the story according to different points of view. And each team will have to rewrite the story according to one point of view, which is of course different from the point of view chosen by the writer. And that was something they will do. So they will do some writing in English, and then they will have again to show and introduce their story to the others. So a lot of writing and working in English, but we want them to include a few words in their native language. For example, hello, bonjour, je m'appelle Marie, je viens de France. Okay, a few things in the point of view. So it will be mainly working in English, but also including languages, the languages of the project, okay? And at the end, of course, they're going to use digital tools to make that audiobooks, and they will have to join and share their project and make it all together. And then what we would like them to do would be to test that when they're in their schools, you know, for their placements, to make that children or their pupils listen to the different stories, different points of view. So they're going to work on literacy, the question of points of view, rewriting a story, but also on English and other languages. And of course, our students will use digital tools, and according to the topic, the main topic of the story which has been chosen, it could be also involving issues of citizenship, of course, gender's question, that sort of thing. So it would last, well, we imagine 6 months, because we've already imagined all the different steps, reading, writing, creating the audiobooks and that sort of thing. And it's got a name, it's called MAVOS, Many Voices, One Story. So that's our idea. and of course there will be some research work done around that, because, well, I've been working on children's literature, on teaching English, on plurilingualism and multilingualism, so we could work on that, you know, during the seminar. And anything else? No, I think, okay, right, so that's it. So if anybody is interested, I really would like to implement that next year with my students. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so whoever wants to join Mavis, okay, feel free to reach out, both from the on-site and the online audience. Do we have any other group that would like to present? Maybe? Yeah? Perfect. Helen, Isabel, Najwa, Ralph, Agnieszka, okay, great. Okay, I think a warmer applause would be more empowering. Bravo, it's still morning, I know. Just make sure that you're close to the microphone. Yes.
All right. So we've got 2 names for our project. The one is Brain, made out of the first letters of our first name. But we thought it would be better to call it Let's Talk Young Mediators in Action. So we want to work with secondary education students, language students from all our countries. So we've got, help me, North Macedonia, we've got Spain, we've got Tunisia, we've got Poland, and we've got France. So the subject we're going to tackle is teaching foreign language to young and very young learners, but also learning about interculturality, some professional skills, and the approach would be like, oh dear me, we would love them to develop some skills like, obviously, language skills like writing, speaking, but also critical thinking. So, next page. I'm sorry, I need to change my glasses. So our answer to this is mediation, so cultural mediation and foreign language mediation for their student teachers. So basically we want them to debate about challenging issues, self-reflect on their own problems, on their own skills, on their own perceptions of some key problems that they have in common, but whose answers might be different. So we would like to work on problem-based learning, dialogic learning, and collaborative learning diaries. So basically, we want them to talk and to write a lot. We are very talkative countries and people. But we want us teachers to stay in the background, so it would be, the main approach would be like learning from your peers, and then reflect, and by self-assessment notably. So the project connects future foreign languages, future teachers from different cultures with the aim of building together their learning process by means of writing, collaborative stuff, and so on. That's what I've just said. But we would like them to build, we had a little chat about that at the beginning, their own community of practice. So they would be co-constructing, self-assessing, maybe peer assess as well. We've got some challenges. So the challenges issues are going to discuss them still in the context of their professional future. We want them to become fluent in the process of mediation and debating. So arguing, rebutting, justifying, explaining, and regulating your speech. Other professional skills would be like critical thinking, reflexive analysis, intercultural skills, mediating for languages. The project would be like last 3 months, hopefully from October to December. And for the organization, do we have to talk about that, or is it a bit too long? Okay, so the organization would be a mix of synchronous and asynchronous work, but also the project would be part of our courses. For example, we would have to teach them maybe how to debate, how not to fear to make mistakes. So it would be about fluency and not accuracy, obviously. So we would have, for example, a first online session where students would describe their education systems, but also discuss the similarities, the common points, because we've got some common history with all of us together, but maybe also we don't know a lot about each other, so that would be really interesting. And then the second phase would be the debates synchronously if possible, but we were talking about moving debates, that if you want to learn more, we've got lots of that on the internet. And the idea of the moving debates would be that we could easily differentiate and help our students overcome their, their fear related to speaking in public and speaking in a foreign language. But at the same time, they could write their, we call them their reflexive learning, their journal, and maybe they feel more confident together, like 2 people together, because we want them to learn, obviously, language skills, but it would be using languages, not necessarily English, not to learn, but to communicate, and learning by doing, learning by communicating. Am I right? Perfect. And that's about it. We would use the Twin Space Padlet, obviously our national education frameworks, learning journal, and so on. But we need to dig deeper. And what I like is that's your idea. I think it's a formative assessment. Then the students respect the task and subtask, but also summative self-assessment and peer assessment. That's what I prefer. And research area would be mediation and critical thinking and intercultural communicative competence, and also developing professional skills. So, so we would need to assess their impact with self-assessment. And some research methodology, it would be a mixed methodology with specific... No, but you did it. So specific impact of qualitative and quantitative methods, so surveys and interviews and the learning journals. That's about it, isn't it? No, the poster. And yeah, we need to show you the poster. It's a wonderful one, so you can see, yeah, thank you, it's me. Yeah, and the name of the group is Brain. So you have to help me. And in Hub. So we'd have I for Isabel, N for H for Helen, A for R for, and B for Bien. Yeah. So you've got lots of people cheering here. So we've got a future teacher thinking, but what you can't see is that she's got a Prada handbag, an espresso, and a Rolex, and you've got the box here. Because they need to realize the only thing they can buy with their wages is the box, not the Rolex.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So whoever wants, you feel free to scan and upload it in the Padlet, and then, because the online audience has already uploaded their work in the Padlet, we will use the link and put it in the Teacher Educators group. And then the idea is to follow up and refine, extend, and reach the ideas that you have been working on. So, moving to the next item, so within the context of the teacher educators and student teachers groups, we have been organizing this year several sessions with different formats. And the idea is that the community members offer their expertise, so something that you have been working on, something that you are really proud of and that you would like to share with other community members. Either if you're a teacher educator, researcher, an ambassador, a student teacher. This year we had, I think, 2 student teachers leading IT sessions, showing a specific digital tool or moderating a debate on a challenge, a topic that raised some challenges and perspectives. So feel free to scan the QR code and you will be redirected in a form which you can complete, and this should be completed by one person, but of course there is a separate box where you can indicate a co-presenter in case you would like to present with another colleague. Okay? Then the second QR code is the evaluation survey. So we would like to hear from you what you think of the conference. So please scan the QR code and we can have like 5 minutes. I mean, we have 10, but I think we will not use the whole 10 minutes. To complete the survey now and try to be honest, and this is the only way that we can improve ourselves as well. So if you have any constructive feedback, also let us know, like concrete recommendations that you might have so we can accommodate them in the next conference that will take place in, I will not say. So I'll let you complete the form, and then we're going to have the official closing. to our defense, from a laptop, it seems smaller. We have a winner. Somebody finished already. Okay. Good. So I hope we managed to complete it. Okay. So now time for the official closing, and for that I would like to invite Mathilde from the European Commission for the closing remarks. You dropped something, I don't know. You dropped something, yeah. I don't know if it was something, yeah. Thank you.
I promise it will be very short. Thank you first to all. You are so committed, even to fill in this very long survey, like there was not one word in this room exchanged for 10 minutes because you were filling in very carefully this survey. So thank you, everyone. I really like actually your ideas of projects that was shared this morning, and I hope they will be implemented. Join MEVOS. They have an acronym that forms a word, and as you know, at the Commission, we love this kind of crazy acronyms, so it's perfectly fit in European Union projects. I would like also to thank, of course, our 15 student teachers who are here. It's the first time that we try this out. We big applause to them. I hope you filled in the survey as well, because we want to know if it works, if you like this kind of event, if it's meaningful for you, to you. And also, this year we had half, meaning like we have half experienced eTwinners in ITE and half really new, either into the profession or with eTwinning, and it's really what we try to create as well with this kind of conference, that experienced eTwinners can learn and share their best practices with the new one. And really, it's what we saw yesterday, so thank you to all our experienced educators here who shared their best practices during workshops and during the practice sessions as well yesterday. It was very nice. Also during coffee breaks, lunch, dinner, like this, all 3 days we had together. It's always nice to see it, and as I mentioned during my opening, as I'm doing the closing, I really like this conference. I really find it, I don't know, there is a spirit of collaboration that is there, like you create new projects, it's great to see it live. And spoiler alert, next year the IT conference will happen in Spain. We are taking, yes, yes, we are taking the Eurovision approach. So this year our ITE awards winner are from Spain. We are going to Spain. Let's see if it will continue like this, but talking about our awards winner, congratulations once again, Isabel and Raquel. I think that they are the best ambassadors we can find, because they created, as they presented on day one, it's really what we want also to drive you through an eTwinning project. They from the blended intensive programs, and then they are part also of a teacher academy. So it's all this Erasmus Plus families for IT, for educators. So it's really a success story, and there is much we can learn from them. So they're like our best ambassadors again. Thank you. Talking about the teacher academies, I know that Višnja talked quickly about our community of practice, but I wanted to mention for the ones who doesn't know the teacher academy. So it's funded by Erasmus Plus, of course, and it's really a network of teacher education institution and training providers. And it's funded, I think it's 1.5 million that you can get as a network for a 3-year program. And you create courses, modules, also to increase and to support mobilities of initial teacher education. So it's something that you can look at. We have until now 61 teacher academies. The last, I think, call was this year, so they've been awarded a month ago, something like this. And the next call will happen in 27. So you have time to actually go through an eTwinning project, throw a beep, another acronym that forms the name, and then the teacher academies. It lets you really the time to go all this process. And what I wanted to mention, it's, sorry. I just don't want to miss anything. No, I think I thank everyone, but I wanted to give a special thank you to the Italian NSO for being here, for supporting the organization of the event, for the buses yesterday, because we had a strike and magically we were taken to the city through the traffic with a guided tour. It was a very, very nice experience. And of course, thank you, Nico, thank you, the team, the CSS. It was a great organized event. And thank you to the online audience as well. Like, I know it's not the same feeling, but you are still there, so it's very, very nice to have you. Thank you, everyone. And I will give the floor to Alex.
Well, maybe next year the online audience will be on-site audience, so we don't know. Just 1 second before you leave, Alex from the Italian... national support organization, just to say one word. And we have also a surprise for the on-site participants. So 5 more minutes.
Don't worry, it won't be long. So I just want to say thank you, first of all, to the CSS, because, you know, it seems easy, but to organize everything, there is a lot of work behind the scenes. So thank you very much, and an applause for the CSS again. And thank you for the commission, because, I mean, we give it maybe for granted, but it's not, you know, you cannot give it for granted that you are really here till the end, that you care, that you listen, and I really hope you bring our proposals, ideas back to Brussels, and also this energy that it's really empowering, and I never get tired of it. I've been working now for eTwinning for a very long time. I used to be the newbie, and now I'm getting towards the old dinosaur, and it's scary, but I still think, I mean, it's an event like this where you think that you're working in the right place and with the right people and going in the right direction. So thank you very much, and I hope you bring this energy back home, because you will have moments where your motivation is down, the project will be complicated, so bring back this energy to your homes, okay? Thank you.
And a big thank you from my side as well to all the people who are contributing also to the program, the keynote speakers, the commission, the Italian NSO, the keynote speakers, workshop leaders, you, attendees on site and online, Cecilia, Marta, Laura, Rute, Marialena, Kira from the online support. Yeah, I think that's all, folks, as we would say. So goodbye also to our online audience.